to No Sleep Sleepover. I'm Logan and that's Matt, and we are crazy today, I guess.
We are?
Well, that's I did the so that's like, you know.
I like how you're speaking for me. I mean, to be fair, I am crazy all the time. So you right. But
I'm starting us off strong. I'm bringing energy into this because we didn't do this before, or we didn't record an episode last week, or whatever it was.
Fill in everybody, including me, because I know a little bit, but I want to hear. We didn't record last week. We didn't have an episode, plot twist, or this week, whatever it is.
Yeah,
there's a missing week, for those who are listening week to week. Logan, tell us what happened.
Well, I was stuck in Boston.
Oh.
Yeah. Check out my Cheers sweatshirt from Boston.
Oh, gorged. Where'd you get that? At the actual bar?
Yeah. So if you watch the TV show Cheers, it's like the outside of the bar is like a real place in Boston. So yeah, they sell like merch and stuff from the show, and
that's awesome.
I bought a sweatshirt and it was very exciting. So anyways, so I went to Boston with my boyfriend.
Ooh, look at some of us who have significant others and go on trips with them.
Right, first time shout out on the podcast. Shout out Nate.
Oh my God, dropping the boyfriend on the podcast. It's legit.
It's not even a soft launch anymore. This is just like hard launch. Like, ta-da! Here he is.
I like how you're like, let's make sure we date for like 4 months and then I'll bring it to this podcast. Whereas with me, it's like, let me tell you about the one date I had last week. Like, I have no separation, but I appreciate your separation. So, okay, give us the Boston highlights and then kind of explain how you got stuck. How about that? So,
okay. So it's a fantastic city. It's very historical, and we saw a lot of history there. We did the Freedom Trail, which is so much fun. It's like 2.5 mile walk. So we did that all. And there's just different stops like Paul Revere's house and the Bunker Hill Monument, just so much history. So that was so much fun. We went and ate a lot of good food. We had some of like the best dumplings in Boston. They were definitely like some of the best dumplings I've ever had.
Ooh.
We drank a lot of beer. We went to the Sam Adams Brewery. We went to a lot of Irish pubs. So it was a lot of fun. Okay. I also stayed in my very first Airbnb. Like I've stayed in one time before, but it was just basically someone else had rented it and then I came. But this was like the first time that I was like helping to make those plans. It was very interesting. Have you ever stayed in an Airbnb? I feel like most people have.
Yeah. So I did a movie in 2019. It was my first full-length feature film. And we actually released it like the week COVID dropped, which was like kind of crazy, like that it lined up. But we filmed it in November 2019, and I I wanted like a lake property. So this was a property on the lake, and it was like, I think I booked it for like, I don't know if it was 2 nights or 1 night. It might have just been, I think it was 2 nights. I think it was like $400. It was like 200. So like, it wasn't a bad price point or anything. And it was for, I think, for the price. And I mean, because like, it was out like in Lorraine, so it wasn't like you were necessarily like, wasn't like in the middle of like Cleveland, but no, I think the system seemed pretty easy. I think I'm open to them in the future. I think it just depends on like price point. I think some of them are good deals, and some of them to me are like, oh my God, like that doesn't seem like a good deal. Like it seems to go either way.
Especially you're not getting like breakfast, you're not getting like someone coming in to like make your bed or whatever, so it's, if it's a similar price to a hotel, then it's but I feel like the point of an Airbnb was to be a cheaper option, and bigger options for families and stuff. Anyways, that was my first like booking an Airbnb experience, and it was really nice. It was really fun. The host was really nice. So we were supposed to go Sunday through Friday and leave on Friday.
Okay.
Friday comes and we had plans to go to this pub that we had been to a couple times, and then we're going to tour Harvard University, which was going to be really pretty because, historic and whatever. So we're at this pub and I get an email that our flight has been canceled. And I don't fly often, so I immediately just panic. Like, okay, what are we going to do? So I'm trying to call the airlines that were partnered for our flight. I'm not going to call them out because, but yeah, they were not super helpful. I was on hold with one of them for a long time, and then they told me I had to call the other one. So I called the other one. They said that I had to call the other one because and it was just a back and forth. No one knew what was going on, I guess. I didn't know what was going on. So we're trying to reach back out to our Airbnb and say, hey, we might be stuck in Boston another night. Do you have any properties available? And they did not. So we were scrambling to find a hotel to figure out how we're going to get home. The airline keeps telling me we have nothing going to Cleveland until Monday. Ooh. It's Friday, mind you. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday to Monday. That's, 4 extra days that we were not planning for to be in Boston, which is not a cheap city. And I was like, okay, well, do you have any connecting flights? Like anywhere going or from Boston to somewhere that will then have a flight to Cleveland? And they said no, which I don't get. How do you not have any flights going to anywhere that are then going to Cleveland eventually?
That feels like one of those moments where they're like, the person's like, oh, yeah, hold on 1 second, and like pretends to type.
Like,
no,
sorry,
we don't.
Honey. Literally, she was just flat out like, no.
Well, there was a TikTok lawyer though who said like, if they can't like promise you the flight, like you're supposed to get like money back. Like you can basically be like, give me my money. So like, did you look into that?
No. So the next option, because I was like, well, we need to get home, Yeah,
of course.
Next option that we looked at was flying into Detroit, which is about a 3-hour drive to Cleveland.
Yeah.
So they had a flight to Detroit that next morning at 9:45. Perfect. I was like, put us on that flight.
But you're telling me from Detroit to Cleveland, there's nothing?
Nothing that weekend, I guess.
It's so weird.
Right? Anyways, so Saturday, I was like, okay, we're going to go to Detroit. And then we had plans from like people to drive us from Detroit halfway, someone pick us up halfway, and then drive us to Cleveland, which was insane. Like, I can't believe that people were going to that's amazing, that people were so willing to help us out because we were like, yeah, we're stuck in Detroit with no car. So our flight was supposed to be at 9:45 in the morning. And I couldn't check in on my phone. So, get a little nervous. So I was like, well, why don't we go at like 7 to the airport? Make sure we can check in. Everything's fine. We have tickets. It'll all be good. So we get there at 7. We're all checked in. We're at our gate. We're waiting. Oh, no. The flight gets delayed.
Oh, my God.
The flight gets delayed until 6 p.m. when it's then canceled.
I would have died. I
was in an airport for 11 hours. Waiting to drive to get to an airport where I was then going to drive 3 hours. I was like, just take me home. Yeah. And like, we're talking with everyone else in the airport. They're all like struggling. Like, this one person, he didn't book his own ticket. His girlfriend did. So he's like, I don't know how to get my money back. I don't know what I have to do.
Oh, no.
Another person was supposed to go to her nephew's wedding reception that night. I was going to miss that. It was just all kinds of awful. But they did give us snacks and a meal voucher.
Yes, if that makes up for, an 11-hour delay plus a cancellation on top of that.
Yeah. So then they were like, you can go to the help desk to get a refund. And I was like, okay. Well, the help desk line is 3 hours long itself. And so, because everyone's flights were getting canceled. Like, the big one was in Florida. A lot of, like, Fort Myers flights were getting canceled. So everyone's looking for help. Everyone's trying to, go home or get whatever.
Like, when I did North Carolina last year, I was like, I'm just going to drive. Because, sure, in theory, the flight would be, maybe a little bit more pricier, but more convenient, easier, whatever. I'd get to like read on the plane or whatever. But like, all the back and forth and the cancellation, the delays, like at least with I'm driving, like I know, okay, I'm conducting the schedule, if I want to, stop, that's on me, or, I want to take a lunch break, whatever. So like, Oh man, just the idea of like you have this plan and it keeps like getting derailed and it's out of your control and like what can you do? That's just
Yeah. Oof. So I was like, okay, it's 6 p.m. and we got to find another hotel room for the night. Mm-hmm. So we found another hotel room. Mind you, we're also, again, we have no car. So we're Ubering everywhere, which is like so much more expensive. Yeah. Thankfully, the Ubers were fairly cheap. They were like $12 or less, which was like really nice. But yeah, so we found a different hotel than we stayed in before. And I was like, wouldn't it have just been nice to have the same hotel, the same hotel room, just keep our whatever. So we found a different hotel. We end up drinking at the hotel bar, and we end up drinking with our airline, like not specifically like our flight, but like a bunch of flight attendants from our airline, because they all had canceled flights as well. And so they all felt super bad. I'm like, well, it's, nothing that you can do, nothing that anyone else can do. So I'm trying to call the airline again, like, hey, help. I'm on hold for 5 hours, and then they hang up on me.
What? Oh my God. I'd be like livid. I'd be like, sue them. I'm going to sue them. And like, I'm not even that kind of person, but like such a rigmarole. Seriously.
I thought that was the end right there. I'm like, I can't even. I was like, another drink? 5 more drinks? Maybe so I was like, okay, what can we do? So we're like, oh, we can book a car, or rent a car for tomorrow. So Sunday morning, we wake up to go rent a car. Issues with car rental, and we cannot rent a car.
Why?
There was just some issues with I don't even know. Just because it was out of state. I don't know. I have no idea.
God. Oh.
But it was just so it's about, we got there at 7 a.m. because we're like, we're going to get a car. We're going to go home. Because it's like a 9.5, 10-hour drive.
Yeah, at that point, you could have made that drive while you were waiting for that 9 to 6 flight, honestly.
Yeah. So
almost, right? That's what's so crazy.
So can't rent a car. So it's about 8:30 a.m. on Sunday. And I'm just crying. I'm like, what are we going to do? Literally, I was like, that was like our last resort. What I'm gonna miss work tomorrow. I guess that's the only way.
Yeah.
So then we booked tickets through a different airline for Monday, and I was like praying to God that that flight wasn't gonna get delayed or anything, because at that point, I was looking at Greyhound tickets. Everything was so expensive. A Greyhound from Boston to Cleveland was 19 hours long with layovers, I guess they still call them, in different cities. That's such a long trip. I'm still going to miss work on Monday because the time it traveled, I was going to miss it. So we got tickets for Monday through a different airline. I can shout them out. That was Delta. Thanks, Delta.
Delta. Here, when your other airlines cancel your original flight, book you on a second flight to a different city, but then push that 11 hours back and then cancel that flight.
Yeah. Delta.
Thanks, Delta. Wow. That's insanity. That's
Monday comes, and thankfully we get on our flight. We have a layover in LaGuardia. That was my first time in New York City, so
that's a little.
I think it's technically Queens, but so we got bagels in New York City because you gotta. And then we got home.
And the end. Wow.
God bless it. It was such a fun trip. I had such a good time. We just did a lot of stuff, but also a lot of nothing. It was just nice to be able to hang out and just spend that time together.
Yeah.
And I do have to say, as stressful as the end was, it was nice to have him there to not just be like, oh, I'm by myself and stressing it. Because he would be like, okay, we're going to get home. And I'd be like, no, we're not. And then I would flip and he'd be, so it's just nice to have that balance every once in a while. So it was a fun trip. And everyone was like, well, would you go back? I'm like, as of now, no. I need some space from Boston for a little bit. It's if you have a bad experience with something, you're not gonna with food. If you eat something bad, You're not going to go right back and eat it again. You might need a little bit. So it's a beautiful city, and I would love to go back. I had so much fun. But I'm just going to take some time. We also did, so sorry, but we also tried to watch the sunrise one morning. So I was like, that'd be cool. The Boston Harbor, which I did pour tea into. Shout out America. And the one day that we went to go watch the sunrise, it was super cloudy and you couldn't see anything. So that was, but it was still, you know, like a funny. But so Boston's fun. If you live in Boston, you're listening. I don't know why people in Boston are listening, but if you are, shout out, thank you. Your city is great, but I wanted to leave so badly.
Would you say, be honest, was that your least favorite trip of all time? Just because of that experience getting back?
You know, I would say no.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've been on a lot of family vacations. And when you're with your family a lot, it gets very stressful. And it's not like you can just, be like, okay, I need a timeout.
Take a vacation on the vacation. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, at least when you're going, like, with your significant other, it's just kind of like, okay, I'm just going to, like, decompress if I'm stressed. But, like, with your family, they're just like, keep going, keep talking, like, it just, so it's hard to, so yeah, I wouldn't say it's the worst. It was very stressful, but not the worst, probably.
Yeah, well, I thought it'd be fun to tie in with this, kind of talking about some of our favorite vacations or craziest vacation stories. So I pulled up a few, and I'll start from like the cute ones to like the crazy things that happened. So
please do.
I did a trip to Austin, and then we went to San Antonio, and I got to see the Alamo. And I got to tell you, it's those like historic moments where you're like, wow, like that. I mean, those are really the memories. Like my favorite memories on vacations are like, I am seeing history, I'm seeing culture, I am seeing like, this is like monumentous. Like, how many history textbooks did you have growing up with like the Alamo in the textbook?
Remember the Alamo.
Yeah. So that was cool. I went to Columbus probably 10 times in 2019 because my friend was a senior at OSU. So we'd go down. And this one time, I think it was my idea. I was like, hey, there's a margarita fest. Why don't we do that? It's a Saturday day fest. Well, we went and they had these giant samples of margaritas. Ooh. So like we just got smashed at the margarita fest. That's a good time. Okay. Another favorite trip of mine, me and my friend Monica, we went to Pittsburgh and we went to this place called Hot Mass. And it's like kind of like a club meets like a concert venue meets like a bar meets like almost like a gay bar. Like the vibes were really interesting. Okay. So we went because Monica's like, listen, this one guy that I love, he's playing there. He was DJing there. And I was like, I have no clue who this is, but I'll go. It's Pittsburgh, right? So we go, we get a hotel room. We nap beforehand because it's going to be a long night. Okay.
Yeah.
We roll in. Now the tickets were only like $30. I remember it being very cheap. And get this, free drinks the whole night.
How?
It just is part of their thing. So like, here's the thing. So the drinks were like, you were getting like cheap vodka, cheap rum, cheap tequila, but like it was free
as is.
Yeah. So like, I mean, all you would do, and this is when we go, I hope it's still open and I hope we can go again. I just need to bring like a whole band of singles. Cause like just for a tip, like, here you go. Here's a single for a drink. So it's like $1 a drink, just the tip. And that was a great night. Oh my gosh. We were out till like 5 a.m. We were walking back and I think the sun was like slowly. So that was a great night. We actually went to Detroit for another concert. And what was funny was we stayed in this hotel that we roll up and it was like, oh, this is weird. Like, because they had like all these cars like on the lawn in front of the hotel. So we go inside and you can tell it's been like repurposed. Like it was something else. I think it was called like the Old Riverbank Hotel or something. So we go in. First of all, they're showing Game of Thrones in the lobby, which is just like, that's not a hotel lobby show. No,
it's like, very like kids are gonna walk in and be like, oh my god.
Or like, what if you're like behind and like they're playing the latest episode and you're like, oh my god. So not a hotel lobby. So meanwhile, this was great. The couple in front of us, they were bickering over like issues with their room, and we were like, uh-oh. So and then we went to pay and Monica paid and her card kept getting declined.
Oh no.
Because like the company is like, girl, this is a scam. It's like This is like a hotel, like a legitimate hotel.
Not
and
a good
like
sign.
the bank is flagging it. So we went to our room and like, I'm telling you, there was like no outlets, no microwave, no TV. Like some of the lights wouldn't work. It was a crazy hotel. And that's what I still remember that. And we had an Uber driver who was like weirdly judgmental of like nightlife. Like she picked us up at like midnight or 1 a.m. and was like, just all these young people and all these young girls with no clothes. So that trip has a memory for me. I'll tell this next one. Okay, so those were all the cute stuff. So
okay,
me and my friend, and I don't know if she wants me to name her because what happens in the story is like illegal.
Don't name her.
Not intentionally, just it is.
Can we name her Claire? Unless her real name is actually Claire.
Can you imagine? Okay. I'm like, oh, okay.
You're like,
so Claire and I were going to go to Toronto for a Canada Music Festival. And I was so excited. So my one friend, actually, I think you know our friend Kelsey. Kelsey's like, listen, when you get crossed into the border of Canada, that's when you want to buy your room liquor because you can get it without tax.
Ooh.
We were like, oh, okay, Kelsey. So we get to the border, and they're like, "Howdy, mate," or no, that's not Canadian. But the Canadians are like.
That was like Texas / Australian. I haven't been to Canada a long time, but man.
Yeah. They were like, you know, what do they say? Like maple syrup, eh? Like it's about time you shoot it. So we passed through and we're like, oh, great. This must be the right off here. Right when we got through, we see the store that we're like, this is where we get the liquor. So we come over, we like, we get to the store. We buy our liquor, we put it in the back seat, and we're like, okay, on our way. However, I don't know how, but where we had gotten to this little store that was like right off to the border, the only way out was back through the United States.
Oh no. Oh no.
And we were like, we go back to the United States, come back into Canada. They go, girl, it's like, why are you here? And we're like, we stopped at that rest stop, and which was true, right? And we circled the block. Yeah. And to be fair, at the time, I didn't even think about like really like the illegality of having the vodka in there because like I'm like, well, we bought the vodka in Canada and we wanted it. We weren't trying to go back to the US. Like it wasn't like we were like, so they go, okay, can you pull off to the side over here?
Oh no.
And so me and Claire were like, absolutely. And we're like, oh my God. So they do check the trunk. Just because, like, I think the trunk was a big thing. They kind of just, like, it was, like, 2 minutes, not even. They go, okay, you're good to go. And we're like, thank you. And we drove out. And then we were like, like, because we, in a way, had smuggled booze in. But, like, we hadn't. It was just, like.
I don't know the laws.
We bought it in Canada. We just, like, the only way to leave that store, we had to go back in the US. It was so weird. And so never again, I will gladly pay the tax or whatever. But yeah, it was. Is
it illegal to like bring liquor to Canada?
I don't know. Is it?
I don't know.
I'm going to Toronto in August, so nobody report me. I'll be very upset.
Seriously. Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was such bad. I don't know. It just seemed bad on their part for like having that exit be the way it was. I don't know.
That's interesting. I know there's a bridge near Detroit where it's like the bridge to Canada. And like, if you go towards that way, you have to go to Canada. Like you can't like turn around anywhere. There's no exits or anything. It's like you have to go through. And so anytime I was up in Detroit, I was always like, don't go to Canada. Don't go to Canada. Because like I don't have a passport. I was like, I know, I need to get one. But I was like, I'm going to get to Canada. They're going to be nice enough and let me in. And then I'm going to try to turn around and come back to the United States. And they're going to be like, I don't think so. And I'm going to be stuck in Canada. Which, I mean, I'm sure they're nice, but I don't know. I don't want to be stuck in Canada.
So are you ready to hear about my worst vacation? Which, honestly, it's like worst, but like looking back, it is so iconic. It is so funny. It is so bananas that it honestly is like the best. It's the worst and the best. Like
while you're talking,
I'm
gonna snack on a sandwich a little bit.
Oh my God.
I'll mute myself
for everybody.
I'll mute myself for all of you who hated our wing eating video, which we are going to do again, just a heads up, because it was fun and we got to eat chicken.
That's true. Hot ones or tepid ones.
Tepid ones.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So this was for my sister's 21st birthday. This was a few years ago. And we got, oh my God, the fact that you literally just raised a giant sandwich. I love it. All right. You eat and I will talk. All right. So as Logan pounds down a triple decker, it looks like a Monte Cristo.
It is just a turkey sandwich. It's very, but you know what? Real quick, I'm so sorry to interrupt.
Toasted bread.
So I love toasted bread, but I hate the smell of like burnt bread. It makes me so nauseous. And so I was like setting this all up and toasting my bread. And then I heard it pop and I was like, oh no. And so then I saw it was like burnt a little bit and everything smelled like burnt bread. And so that was bad. But anyways, okay, go ahead with your worst vacation.
Okay. So it's my sister's 21st. We were going to go to Vegas because I got Gaga tickets in Vegas. So that was like the big thing. Me and my sister, we both love her. Boom. Okay. So on the trip, it's okay. So this is the cast of characters. So me, my sister, Annalise, and then my sister's gay best friend, Declan. We all flew in together. And then my best friend, Monica, who's already made a lot of mentions today, she flew in separately. And I think she arrived like a couple hours before us. And then my sister and her friend were going to leave Sunday. My dad was going to fly in Sunday. And then I think Monica flew out maybe Monday. And then I flew out with my dad on Tuesday. So there's a lot of moving parts, but that's to give you kind of an overview of like, you know, we were all there together, but like separate and all that. So we get off the plane and my mom had been like, listen, I hooked you guys up with a rental car. She's like, I got it for a good price. Go get the rental car. So I zoom over, I take an Uber or like we get off the plane. I think the plane shuttle takes us to where we're getting the car. And what was so funny was this car rental was not like at the airport. It was like 10 minutes from the airport. It was so weird. Meanwhile, Annalise and Declan are complaining like, we just want, and I'm just like, listen, let's get this rental car and boom. So we get there and it was $600 for this rental car. Oh. And I was like, I was so livid. But then I'm like, Annalise and Declan are like, blah, blah, blah. And like, I'm like, we should have just Ubered. So we didn't. So I put the car, I was like, just take my money, give me the car. So I paid all this money for a car. And like, I was in the moment so pissed. $600, so pissed. Yeah. So we get the Uber car and we're heading to where our hotel is. And God, this sounds like so immature, but my mom had also helped book the hotel. Because part of it was like, it was like a surprise for my sister. So like we were working together.
Yeah.
To kind of, like I got the Gaga tickets and I was kind of planning like an itinerary. My mom was like, here's some hotel deals. And I got a car deal for you.
Yeah. I mean, no, that makes sense.
So my mom was like, I got you at the Travelodge. Now, if you've been to Vegas, you know, on the Strip in the middle of all these tall buildings, there's like a Travelodge. It's so random. So I'm thinking, oh, that's awesome. Right there on the Strip in the Travelodge. We get there. They're like, we do not have a reservation for you.
Oh, no.
No, just wait for it. So we look. We're actually at a second Travelodge that is not on the Strip, but by the airport. It's like a 20-minute walk from the Strip. So internally, I'm just like, okay. So get this. So we get there and it's like dusty, but it's fine. Whatever. We're there. We're just, you know, I rarely use the hotel room really. So I'm not like, oh, the hotel room has to be good. So Monica was staying in the Tropicana, which was on the Strip, like we're probably like 10, 15 away from us by walk, not too far. Mm-hmm. She got a cheaper room than us.
Oh no.
I could not believe it. Monica's like, I'm paying $60 a night. I'm like, we're paying $100. What? So, it gets even better.
I'm ready.
The next morning, me, Annalise, Declan, Monica, we go for a brunch buffet and we end up at, I don't know how we end up, but we end up at the Wynn. I think just because like it's one of the best ones. So we're talking, we're chatting, we pay our bill and we're waiting to be sat at the buffet. And it's taking like longer than usual to seat us. And I was like, what's going on? So this lady comes up and she goes, and she's like a manager. And she's like, I'm sorry, but you're out of dress code, so we can't seat you. And at first we're like, who is she talking to? She points to Monica and Monica's wearing like short shorts because it's Vegas and it's 110 degrees.
Yeah.
And then he goes, yeah, those are too short. And we're like, what? So then the lady's like, you have to wear this. And she holds up this mustard yellow, like, scarf that, like, I don't know if she got it from the bottom of her purse, it lost and found, or if the manager ran and was like, who has a scarf in the staff room? I don't know. Yeah. Monica was like, I'm not wearing that. That's disgusting. And so the ladies, well, then we're not seating you if you're on dress code. So Monica, like, pulls the booty shorts down a little bit, which is just funny because, like, it's not like pulling them down is like going to keep, like, you know, you start to then see more upper butt than lower butt. Like, there's just no way.
There's no winning, technically.
So the manager's like, oh, fine. And she sat us and she kept her eyes on us the whole time. And what was so funny was, like, there were people, like, in sweatpants with, like, juicy on the cheeks. I'm like, so that's, you know, also it's a buffet in Vegas. It was brunch. It wasn't like dinner. Like, okay, maybe it's a fancy dinner. So my dad rolls into town. My dad was like, I want to go to Zion. I was like, great, we'll go to Zion. That sounds lovely. He's like, and I want to walk Angel's Landing. And I was like, great, we'll hike Angel's Landing. Sounds great. So we get there and we pay the little park fee and we get in the shuttle because we got a shuttle to the hiking spot. So the shuttle has, like, this, like, person who's just like, you know, next stop is the visitor center. You know, get a snack and some water and blah, blah, blah. And, like, the next stop is the lily pad hike, and it's an easy hike. And I was like, oh, okay. So finally, you know, people are getting off, people are getting on, whatever. We get to, next stop is Angel's Landing. It's a moderate hike. I was like, okay, moderate doesn't sound bad at all.
Yeah.
So we get out, and first of all, it's probably like 11. So the sun is at, like, about to be at peak location. Like, this is, like, the worst time to do a hike.
Oh, yeah.
So my dad and I were like, okay, great. So it starts off pretty good, right? And then we get to what's called a switchback. And what that is you are going up, like, very steeply up. And then there's, like, a platform. And then you turn and you go, like, up again. And you're, like, zigzagging upwards. So we do one of those. And I'm like, this is exhausting. Round the corner, we have 2 more giant sets of them. So by the time we got to the top, I am, like, dying. I am, like, literally, like, I was just not prepared. Like, I thought it was going to be a chill hike. This was not a chill hike. Got some gorgeous photos. But then we made our way down, and I think we left around 4, and I literally had a heat stroke in the car. Like, I don't remember anything. And then we got back and we went to a buffet. And what was funny was Monica got hit on at the buffet. She just had this pile of crab legs. It was so funny. Like, she wasn't even trying to be, like, sensuous or, like, interested. She just kept eating crab legs and, like, putting the remains on the table. And these guys were like, hey. And then Monica pretended my dad was her dad. So, and then we're about to leave. So finally, all this thing, like, it just, all this crazy stuff would happen. Our flight gets delayed, which is like, it's Spirit. So that's what happens. One lady, though, she lost it on the flight lady. And the best part was she had, like, a little girl with her, a little boy, and she had a dog that she was dragging on its legs. I know. I'm like, who is this lady? This is the best part. Plane. We're all seeing the plane. Plane's not going off. Why? Guess what? The same lady is getting kicked off the flight with her kid and her dog because her kid's being like a bastard.
Jeez.
I'm like, who are these people? And then, of course, they got kicked off, and I was like, and the whole plane clapped with me. No joke. So,
oh my God.
That vacation, I got to tell you, hands down, one of my favorite, like, it was so bad, but so good at the same time.
Yeah, so. It's like, because you get those stories and you get to, like, remember them and tell people. And, like, you know, if you have kids, tell your kids, and then keep telling your kids, and then tell your grandkids over and over and over. And you just, like, you know, keep those stories forever. And it's just exciting, you know? So that's what I'm hoping my Boston trip turns into. It just, eventually I'll be like, haha, that was funny. But, you know, as of now, it's just like, wow, that's a lot of money, which... Spending money on vacation is so easy to do. And then when you spend more than you want to, it hurts.
So where are the 3 places that you really want to go that you haven't gone yet?
Okay. I really want to go to Maine. I've always wanted to go to Maine, and I was looking there for vacation, but to fly to Maine right now is like $700 for 2 tickets.
To fly to Maine?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why?
I guess I would assume because they don't have like a lot of flights going in and out, so it just costs a lot more.
I would just drive there. How long's the drive?
It's far. Let me see. Also, I don't like being in the car for like more than 3 hours.
Oh yeah, it's probably 9 or 10.
It is better. No, wait. Why am I starting a tour?
Oh, you're doing a tour of Maine on your phone?
I don't mean to. It's almost 11 hours.
I mean, see, to me, 11 hours in the car versus $760 plus the hassle of air traffic. Like, this is why. Okay, real quick rant before we continue with your 3 places you want to go. We need hyper speed trains.
Yes. The whole time I was like, imagine if I could just hop on a train and get home in 20 minutes.
But car lobbyists and plane lobbyists, they're trying to like get it under the rug. No, because imagine you were on a train. It might be delayed, but that train will still go to Cleveland. Not like the train's going to not go to Cleveland. It's going to have to go through Cleveland to go to Detroit or to go wherever.
Yeah. No, I'm a big proponent. I love those ideas. I think that they're so smart, and I just hope that if it eventually does happen, fingers crossed, that the prices stay low and that they don't like jack them up and they're only for.
I just feel like they couldn't jack it up because like if you think about it, like realistically, like, you know, those kind of things aren't necessarily like a luxury, but like it's a way, like, you know, the idea would be like, hey, like the ticket's so good, like anyone could go, so like people would buy, like, you know, because like I don't know, like to me, like I'd spend $30-$40 to do like a hyper train from here to Chicago.
Yeah, no, same. And I think that's reasonable. I'm just hoping that they're not like $90 for a 7-minute train ride to Pittsburgh, you know.
See, here's the thing. What would that limitation be? Like $80, $100? I might in a way, but I don't think I would do it as often. Yeah. Whereas 30-40, I do it more often. Does that make sense too? You know,
for sure.
You could go for a day, you know, real quick. Just go out and do a day trip. Okay, so Maine was number 1.
Yes. And then I think
Maine's up there for me too, ironically. Like not top 5, but like
pretty.
Yeah, I want to do like Augusta, or Acadia. Is it Acadia?
Yes. Something like whatever it is. And like in the fall, it's all just so pretty.
Like how we're like, just whatever, the trees. Whatever.
I just want to see the trees.
I want to see nature.
Yeah, we just go on nature. So that just seems really pretty. I think something like Washington or Oregon would also be, you know, like that kind of.
Absolutely.
Mountain scenic. And then let me look out of the country, and I think I want to go to Greece. I think Greece would be really cool. Except I would want to, food-wise, I'd want to go to probably like Italy, but like Greece seems pretty, you know?
Yeah.
So what about you?
Domestically, I think Washington, Oregon's definitely been on my list. I think I'd like to maybe get out. Well, LA. I was going to do LA pre-COVID, and then COVID hit, and you know, LA, no.
Good one.
Those are really bad, but yeah, Maine, Acadia's been up there. So I to be fair, I kind of copied this from someone else. I really want to go to the Keys and drive down the Keys.
Yeah, I think that'd be really cool.
I think that'd be cool. I know you hate driving.
I could fly down to like as far as you can go, and then I'll take a car and drive through the Keys.
There you go.
And then get to like the very southern point.
Yeah. So yes, definitely want to do that. Internationally, big ticket item. I really want to do like a month in Japan at some point.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
That'll probably be, I've like resigned. It'll probably be in like my 40s, 50s, or 60s at that point, just to like have that time, because I really like would want to do Tokyo, and I'd want to go down south to like where like the islands are, and like go north to Hokkaido and do like the mountain, and like do like Mount Fuji, and do like, I would really want to immerse myself, and like that, and maybe Australia. Those two, I feel like I would love more of an immersive kind of experience. I'm hoping maybe next year, my mom and I were talking about maybe trying to do 10 European cities in 10 days using the Eurail and just flying through, because that might give you it gives, you know, my mom's been to Europe. I've not been to Europe yet. But it kind of gives you an idea of like what you liked and what you don't. Because like I think it's hard to be like, let me go spend a week in Budapest, right? And like
and
really,
then day 2, you're like, I don't like Budapest, but if you're traveling everywhere, then you're like, oh, I really like this one. And it sucks that you're only there for a day, but you can go back eventually.
It's keen into like, I think we talked about there's like maybe doing like starting in London and then too, it's like, well, if we're gonna be in London, why not do a couple days in Ireland while you're there? From London to Paris, maybe down to like Vienna, which Vienna is the one with the boats. I really want to see Vienna, right? That's the boat one where they're all in boats in Italy.
I think rivers. So.
Yeah, that's
like a gondola.
Yeah,
I think so.
That's Vienna.
But I mean, they also have like Amsterdam. I think they have like boats that go through.
Yes, so we'll get to Amsterdam. But yeah, Vienna over to I think we talked about maybe Prague and Budapest. Over then to Berlin. And then over to Amsterdam and then back to London. And like with the Eurorail, like you can get like a decent price point for like, because like that's what we would do. We would just take that Eurail across and hopefully get like a 2-week kind of just journey out of it. And like, I don't know if that's going to be next year. It might have to be in 2, especially with like the Ukraine situation. So, and also with COVID, I mean, there's still kind of some like limitations with COVID right now. So like, I would like want to save up and make sure it's at a time where like, okay, this is going to happen or we're going to make it happen. So, but that's a big one for me. And otherwise, I mean, are there some places that you don't want to go? Like, you're like, I absolutely don't want to go.
New Jersey. I never want to go to New Jersey.
Why? Because it's just a little too, okay, I was trying to do New Jersey. New Jersey.
I want to go to New Jersey.
Prostitution, what?
I just don't want to go to New Jersey. Like, I don't like New Jersey. I don't have a good reason for it. If you've ever seen How I Met Your Mother, like Ted Mosby hates New Jersey and he's from Cleveland. So like, that's me. Like, I don't know. I just don't want to go there. I never want to be near New Jersey. Just not for me. And I know that's like so stupid, but like, I be
honest too? Like, if we're going to talk about states that I will probably never visit, it's going to be Idaho, Montana, and Dakotas. I'm sorry. Listen, I know everyone's like,
you don't want to see Mount Rushmore?
No, I don't care about Mount Rushmore, about 4 presidents, 3 of whom were terrible at their time. I don't really care. And like, listen, I know people are like, it's gorgeous. It's big sky country and no one lives there. It's the nature and the Badlands. First of all, who's like, let's go to the Badlands? That doesn't sound fun to me. It doesn't sound like a good time.
Sounds bad.
Sounds bad. Another point too is some of those places can be a little prejudiced and Caucasian and like, I do not want to end up in a place where I'm like,
hate crimed.
Like, sounds like we're like pitching like, what are some bad tourism videos? Like, welcome to Idaho, where you might be hate crimed. I mean, that sounds so bad. But yeah,
sorry, Idaho.
Do not have really an inclination to go there. Which is, and probably Alabama, Mississippi. I'm sorry. Alabama, Mississippi are like the 2 cousins who, when they show up, ruin the family event. Like, we're having a great family event, and then bang, bang, boom, Alabama, Mississippi come in, and suddenly, they're starting drama. They're drunk. They're saying inappropriate comments to the niece. That's like, that's your niece? You're disgusting. Like, I have no interest in doing Mississippi or Alabama.
I think Alabama would be cool just because, like, college football for me.
Okay.
So.
Oh, well, maybe, but, not for me. But
yeah. I never want to go to California either.
Really? Never?
West Coast does not seem like I don't know. It just doesn't seem like my cup of tea. Like, influencers or hippies or whatever's out there. Like, I'm just,
oh my God. You seemed like 60 years old right there. You're like, hippies and those kids on my lawn in California, never.
Damn influencers on their telephones. Like, it's not for me, like, like in Boston, it was really nice. Cause like, everyone had an accent that was like, and I loved it. And You walk into a bar and you just hear that like accent. I'm like, this is the place for me.
I will say too, you know, there's been so many cities that I visited when I was younger that like I feel like, oh my God, I need to get back. Like I need to get back to Chicago, Atlanta, Nashville, New Orleans, Boston.
It's DC for
Philly,
me.
DC. Yeah, I think the last time I visited DC, I was like, you know, I had glasses and long hair and I was a total nerd loser. So these days I'm just like light nerd loser.
You don't have glasses. You're like, yeah, I went to DC in like 8th grade and like I want to go back, you know, because it's just so
much
fun.
history and and the Smithsonian and all that. Yeah.
Yes, I love museums. I really love like historical vacations. Like I'm not a beach person. I think I've mentioned that a time or two here. Yeah. I don't love the beach. Like I can watch like a sunrise on a beach, you know, or like sunset, and that's fun. But like I want to like do things and like walk places, and you know, I don't want to just you know, sit on a beach.
See, I went on a vacation where it was with people. It was with like I didn't really know many people. It was like kind of like a whole group thing, and I knew a couple people, but I didn't know everybody. But I grew to like really like the whole group. But like, yeah, we were at a beach house for 5 days, and it was hard for me just because I like going out, and we didn't really go out. Like going out was like, let's go to one of the little Sea Villages stores to get a towel or whatever. That was like going out. So no, that was hard for me.
See, I like little gross bars and stuff and drinking in those. And so like anything, like Boston was like a perfect city for like, but I don't want to be out in like crazy clubs and stuff. So something like Miami would never like, that's too crazy for me. Like some, you know, California and LA, there's like a lot of too much places. So I want to find other cities that have like those areas that are more low key, like you can do stuff, but it's like there are the lower,
like a Portland, Maine, or a
like
Bismarck, South Dakota.
No, but like Portland, Maine is like where I want to go. So if anyone lives in Portland, Maine and wants to house me, and
same here, we could be live from Portland, Maine. Portland, sponsor us, please.
Portland. Sponsored by Portland, Maine.
Sponsored by Portland, Maine, where it's $700 for a ticket, but it's gorgeous.
Yeah, so worth it.
What about internationally? Is there any places, any countries that you're like, you know, I know there's like a lot of hype. I know people talk about going here all the time, but I just don't have any interest in it.
Oh man, that's a hard one. For a while, I think it was Ireland, just because I feel like so many people are going to Ireland, and this sounds so bad. Their accents are just so hard for me to understand. I'm so sorry. But I like, you know, I don't have like the best hearing. And so it's just like, it's when something's like slightly different, it's hard for me to focus on the words. And so when the words sound different, you know, so it's just, I don't know. I'm so sorry to everyone who's Irish.
Your inner grandma is really coming out today. Like, I don't want the hippies and the influencers and the people who the
Irish
and I can't handle different things and sounds irritate me and I don't want to be in a big city and I just
I'm literally like that's why, again, I love going to places where there's not a lot of stuff happening all the time, because like I want to be able to go to bed early. Like I'll wake up early. Perfect. Yeah. But if I'm in bed by like 8 p.m., like there was by our Airbnb, there was like a nightclub. And so the one day we're walking back and there's like a line, and I was like, I had some beverages earlier and I was like, let's go. And we did not go, which I think was smart, because like when I woke up the next morning, I was like, I would have hated that. I do not want to go to a nightclub. Like, just not for me.
So, no countries come to your mind like that you're like definitely would not want to visit?
I honestly don't think so. I think
just
I'm like
Ireland.
Mostly. No, I'm more down for Ireland now. People have said it's very beautiful, and so I would love to go.
Gorgeous.
What about you? I feel like you have one.
It's very it's very similar to the Idaho, Montana, Dakotas thing, where it's just like, I don't want to be in a position where I'm in a country and like, you know how it goes.
North Korea.
Can you imagine being like, wow, the buildings in Pyongyang? What's the capital? Is it Pyongyang?
No, Pyongyang.
No?
No,
Pyong?
that's something else. I think that's
in the capital of North Korea. It's like PY.
I know. I think that's South Korea.
Oh, well, anywho.
PYEONG. I think it's
Yeah,
South Korea.
we're like
I
doing spelling class with Matt and Logan. Well, yeah, no, and you know, I've never had a desire to see Russia. I still don't have a desire to see Russia.
Fair.
You know, China, because like they spy on you, and when you're in China, when you're visiting, don't want to go there. And
I mean,
I've heard people talk about when you go to India, there's like a smell when you visit. Like it's just, I think because like of like all the like it's just like a lot of like just a lot of people maybe, and so like a giant like urban center in India. It's like pretty rough. Oh, Pyongyang. That's what I said.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Pyong is a Korean currency. So.
Oh, look at you with the tips.
So,
but oh, and I didn't mention this, but I really do want to see Iceland, and I'd love to do like a Swedish, Norway, Finland trip.
Oh, that'd be fun.
You know, so
I also totally forgot about this. I've always wanted to live in New Zealand.
Oh, of course, New Zealand.
All the little like sheeps and everything. Oh my God.
Yes. Oh, and I would love to actually go to Alaska as well and just see some of the sights.
Yeah, I think Alaska would be really pretty.
Yeah. Well, I think that's our travel issue. Like we're a magazine.
Jesus. Oh, I love this issue. My favorite issue.
What a great issue. Do we know what we're doing for our next issue? Can we tease it, or we're not sure? We're just like,
I didn't even know what I was doing for this issue. Yeah, again, apologies that we didn't record, like literally. I mean, we got into town, I think, like noon. And by the time like everything was all packed, like my boyfriend had to drive back home. Like
poor guy.
I know. Bless his soul.
He has to date you. That's just a lot. I'm kidding. So many problems. He just was like, I'm stuck with Logan.
You're gonna get hate mail from my boyfriend and my mom
on next week's. That's what we're doing next week. We're
reading hate mail.
That would be a fun episode, though. Getting like some comments, like critiquing the show. I think actually that's what I want to do. I was thinking if we made it to 100 episodes, it would be fun to like look back on some like moments and like maybe I don't know,
make fun of ourselves.
Yeah, of course. That's what I love about it. People think, real quick before we go, people think that like, oh, like he podcasts and he does this and he thinks he's so talented and so great. And like genuinely, no, I don't. I think I'm terrible.
I hate myself.
I know. Well, yeah. It's just like if there's a president of the I Hate Matt Hribar fan club, I am the president. Absolutely. Like, I'm my biggest critic. But yeah, some people think that like, oh, he's so full of himself. And I'm like, no, I mean, I am full usually because I eat a lot, but of myself, I don't know. But anywho, I don't know how we got here. Oh, it's because Logan's mom's going to DM me and say that she...
And my boyfriend.
And it's Logan's boyfriend.
He's very honored to be dating me.
Logan's boyfriend, blink twice. Blink twice if you're okay?
Nate, keep your eyes open. Don't blink.
Don't blink. I swear to God. Keep your eyes open for me at all times. You close your eyes, it means that you don't want to see me.
Me threatening him. This is going to be online forever. God forbid we're ever like in court or something. And they're going to pull this up and he's going to be like, here's the evidence. Oh, God.
She held me against my will, and the only person who knew about it was me. And I turned it into like an expose podcast. Like,
oh my God.
Logan's boyfriend.
True crime. Me.
True crime, Logan Molnar, next episode.
I'll call in from jail. And I'll be like, hey, guys, listen, here's the real side of the story.
Oh, it's so funny, though, like when those people, they're in the jail outfit or they're calling from jail, you're like... it's a tough sell to be like, I'm
innocent.
I know that there are innocent people in jail. It's just tough to be like, oh, that's a strike against you. You're in the person orange. But all right, we got to wrap this up. This is getting off the rails. This is
it really is
hyper speed train that you should have taken to get back to Cleveland from Boston.
That should be a thing in America. Fund it. Let's do it. Again, so sorry about the missed episode. We'll try not to do that again. Wink, wink. We definitely will.
Unless we're sponsored by Portland, Maine.
And then we're never giving this up.
Never be off a week.
Seriously.
Like Maine, we will be on our best at all times.
Absolutely.
I
would never cuss ever or threaten anybody.
And Maine, I will talk crap about whatever states you want me to talk crap about. Except Ohio, because I'm from Ohio.
I'll talk crap on Ohio. If you want me
fine,
to,
we'll do it. For $25 extra.
Name the right price tag and I'm down. All right. But thanks for listening or watching. Again, you can listen to us wherever you get your podcasts, or you can watch us on YouTube on the Starvolt Studios page, and you can check out every other Matt project that he has. He has other podcasts. He has other videos and stuff. It's a lot of fun. So you should check it out for sure.
Do we still TikTok?
We have it. You bring it up like every week. Because
I don't know. Are we doing it?
I didn't TikTok in Maine or in Boston. Where was I? I don't know. This is
Logan's boyfriend. How about Logan? Make your boyfriend in charge of our TikTok or something. That can be how
he's our social media manager. He's gonna ask if he gets paid. I'm gonna be like,
and hugs and kisses from you. That's the payment. Which I think is a great payment. I mean,
I do too. Okay.
We are psychopaths.
I know. I told you we were starting off strong, and here we are ending off. Okay.
I honestly think, real quick, I think the ending of our podcasts are always the best part. So it really, to me, is like, it's kind of a treat. Like, if you've really gotten this far, this is where we've really shown our true, like,
it's just, if you've ever had a podcast, it's so hard to just like stop it, because you're like, okay, listen to us, bye. But it's like, you're not going anywhere. Like, me and Matt are still staring at each other.
I'll just like slowly, I'll do like one of those things where like I pretend to like I'm going downstairs right now.
Okay, bye everybody. Okay, this has to end right now. Bye everybody. Bye.